Hello everyone. So in this particular video we are going to learn about the Azure Data Factory in a one video. This will be a complete tutorial. Everything we are going to learn based on the practical lab, practical example. If you are new in this particular channel, please do like, please do support so that I will post more videos like this. Okay, so let us start with the agenda part. So what we are going to learn, first we are going to start with the introduction about the Azure Data Factory, why we use Azure Data Factory. We are going to learn about the architecture, about the data engineering, where actually we use a data factory, everything we are going to learn. Okay, after that we will start with the data factory component, what are the components which we should know when we talk about the Azure Data Factory. After that we will start with the creation of the data factory. We are going to learn how actually we can create a data factory by the practical lab. After that we will see about the storage part. We are going to learn how actually we can create a storage part and the SQL database part, everything we are going to learn. After that we will start with the practical lab. Here actually we will see how actually we can perform, how actually we can create a data pipeline. We are going to learn about the different kind of the activity, copy, delete, parameterization, data flow, where actually we can perform a ETL activity, how actually we can use a store procedure for each activity. Everything we are going to learn in this particular video. Okay, so let us start with the first tutorial part, and let us try to start with our introduction to the Azure Data Factory and the architecture part, and then we will move further. Okay, so let us try to understand about the Azure Data Factory. What is ADF? Okay, so before coming to the ADF, first we should know about the two terms, that is the ETL and ELT. ETL and ELT. Okay, if we talk about the ETL is nothing but it is a extract, transform and the load. It is a extract, transform and the load. When we talk about the ETL, it is a extract, transform and the load. Okay, and when we talk about the EL2, it is a extract, load and transform. Okay, so how actually it works, let us try to understand. Okay, when we work in a real time, we actually have a data in a different sources. Suppose you have a data that is coming from your web services. Okay, suppose this is your web service. Suppose you also have a application. Suppose this is an Android application. From there you have a data that is coming. Suppose you also have a iOS device. From there actually you are getting a data. Suppose similarly you have a transaction data. Okay, so there we will get to see different kind of the sources in our real time use case. So what actually we try to do, we actually try to bring into a common space. Okay, we try to bring into a common space. So what actually we try to do, we try to extract this data. Okay, and we try to extract this data from a different resources. Okay, now if you are cleaning this data, if you are performing some kind of the transformation, where we are applying some kind of the filtering, where you are applying some kind of the sorting or any kind of the transformation, then it comes under the transformation. Okay, and then finally we try to load into a final table or final destination or the ADLS location. Okay, so if we do like this, like if you are extracting data from a different resources and then transforming and the loading into a final destination, then we call it as a ETL. Okay, this is one of the scenario where actually we have to perform some kind of the transformation, like you want something like the filter and then only you want to load into a final destination, then we say it a ETL activity. Okay, but the similar activity, suppose what actually you are doing, you don't know what kind of the transformation you have to apply. Okay, that scenario also come. So in that case the ELT comes into the picture. You are extracting the data from a different sources and you are just loading that. Okay, and after that you are getting some kind of the requirement where you have to filter it. So in that case we actually perform a transformation. So that is nothing but our ELT process, where actually first try to load from a different sources, we try to load it and we try to perform a transformation. That is nothing but a ELT. So in our Azure Data Factory, all the ETL, all the ELT, ingestion, this kind of the activity we can do in a Azure space with the help of the ADF, with the help of the Azure Data Factory. I hope you got clear idea. So suppose you have a data from a different resources and you want to extract you want to create some kind of the data pipeline where actually you want to do some kind of the ETL and the ELT kind of the activity, then we generally go for the Azure Data Factory in a Azure space. I hope you got it right. Now let us try to understand more about the from the component parts from the Azure Data Factory parts. Okay, so let us try to understand about the ADF components. What are the things we should know, okay, whenever we are talking about the ADF components? Okay, so when actually we talk about the we have to extract our data, we have to perform some kind of the transformation, loading, everything whenever we create a data pipeline in Azure Data Factory, right? So there are the some terminology which we should aware. So okay, let us try to understand one by one. First is the dataset. Second is the, okay, let us try to start with the activity part. First is the activity, second is the dataset, third is the link service. Okay, third is the link service. Okay, fourth is the integration runtime. Okay, these are the thing which you will get to know whenever you are creating any kind of the Azure Data Factory pipeline. Let us try to understand one by one. Okay, whenever we are saying any kind of the activity, okay, so this is nothing but your pipeline activity, what actually you are going to do. Okay, let me tell you, you have one requirement where you have to copy a data from one source to the another location. Okay, in that case what activity you are performing? You are performing a copy activity, right? Similarly, you will get to see different kind of the activity in Azure Data Factory. Suppose you have to delete the data from the particular source location, so how, for that what activity you will do? You will perform a delete activity, right? Similarly, you will get to see different kind of the activity, that so that is nothing but a activity. Okay, now second is the data set. Okay, second is the data set. So this data set is nothing but a this is pointing to your file or source file. This is nothing but a this is pointing to file. Okay, this is nothing but this is pointing to a file. Let us try to understand. So suppose you have a data. Okay, suppose you have a data that is available in a CSV file or JSON file or any kind of the file. Okay, now in that case what will be your data set? Your data set will be that CSV file. Okay, so here if you have a CSV file or JSON file, any file, this is nothing but we are saying a data set. Okay, now the third one is the link service. Now if you want to access this particular CSV file that is available into a storage account, right? So for that you should have a link service. So for that you should have a something credential so that you can access to this particular CSV location. So for that actually we create a link service. Okay, I hope you got it. If you want to access this particular storage location, you should have a credential so that you can access it. So for that we create a link service. Okay, and the fourth one is the integration runtime. Okay, a link service is nothing but a, we can say it is a connection or the connectivity, you can say. Now coming to the integration runtime, in an integration runtime we have a three type. One is the auto resolve. Okay, second one is the self hosted, and third one is the SSIS integration. Okay, when we talk about the auto resolve, right, in auto resolve what actually happens? Suppose you have a all the sources that is available in a Azure space only. Suppose you have a data in a one storage container, you want to move into another container, means you are doing inside the Azure space only, right? So in that case we generally go for the auto resolve. In a self hosted, what actually happens? Suppose you have a SQL server data and you want to move into the cloud space. Okay, so in that case we generally try to create one environment that is nothing but a self-hosted integration we have to create. Okay, the third one is like, suppose you have a data that is available in a SSIS and you want to move into the Azure space, then in that case we will create a SSIS. Okay, now let us try to understand with the architecture diagram so that we will try to learn and we try to understand about this activity, dataset, link service and the integration runtime, and how actually we will create our pipeline. Okay, so let us try to understand with the diagram. Okay, so how actually the thing works, let us try to understand. Okay, so let me give you one example. So generally what happens, Okay, suppose you have a data that is available in a storage account. I am giving a, suppose this is your storage account, this is nothing but a storage account. Okay, in this storage account you are getting a data from a different resources continuously. Okay, you are getting a data from a different resources in this particular storage account. Here you have a container. Container is nothing but a, it is kind of the folder there actually you are getting a data in a CSV file. Okay, so how actually our pipeline will look like, and what actually we are going to do from this CSV location, we are going to load our data into our final destination, that is nothing but our SQL DB. Whatever the CSV file we are getting, we actually want to load into our SQL DB. Okay, how actually we can do it? Okay, so what actually we are doing, we are performing an activity, right? So what kind of the activity we can do here? We can do a copy activity. That is clear, right? Because we are moving a data from our storage account to a SQL DB. Okay, so our pipeline will look like this. This will be our storage, that is nothing our source location. Okay, and this is our the target location where actually you want to do target. We call it as a sink in a Azure space. Okay, make sure you remember this. Now what we should have? Okay, first, whenever you are performing a copy activity, right, you have to create a data set. We have to create a data set. Okay, you have to create a data set. Okay, that is the first activity. Now second thing is like you should have a link service so that you can point out to the this storage account. This storage account actually you want to point, right? So for that you should create a connectivity with the help of the link service, so that you can create a connectivity with the source location. Similarly, if you want to load into a SQL DB, right, so first you should create a link service with this SQL DB. So for that also you have to create a link service. Okay, so that is the second thing. Now we should have a data set. That data set is nothing but that will point out to this CSV location, and with the help of the link service we can access this file. Okay, so this our source file will be the ready. Okay, now what actually we want to do, we want to actually load into this SQL DB, right? So for that actually we should have a creativity linked between the link service. Should have a link service so that we can connect with the SQL DB and we can load it. Okay, so this is the structure actually we follow in any kind of the data pipeline activity. Okay, I hope you got a clear idea. So what actually is Azure Data Factory? Azure Data Factory is nothing but a, in Azure space, if you want to perform any kind of the ETL or ELT kind of the, or any kind of the ingestion kind of the activity, then we generally go for the Azure Data Factory. We have learned about with the help of the example, so I hope you got it what is Azure Data Factory. Now coming to the ADF component part. In the ADF component parts, whenever you create any kind of the data activity, you should what actually the thing you want to do, that is nothing but your activity. After that the data set is nothing but it is pointing to your source location, which particular file you want to move or you want to copy or delete, that is nothing but your data set. Link service is nothing but it is a connectivity from, if your data is available in a source location, that is a storage account, so from there actually you should have a connectivity. For that we will create a link service. If your storage account is if your source location is a SQL DB, so for that also you have to create the link service. If your source location is Amazon S3, for that also we will create a link service so that we can go to that particular location and we can access the file. Okay, the fourth is the integration runtime. In Azure space only, if you are doing an activity, then we will go for the auto resolve integration runtime. If it is in local and from local to Azure space we are moving, then for that we will create a separate integration that we call it as a self-hosted integration runtime. And the final one is the SSIS. From the SSIS, if you want to move into the Azure space. Okay, so like this we have a Azure Data Factory component. Now let us try to learn about the other thing, like how actually we can create a data factory, how actually we can create a storage account, and how to create a SQL DB, and then we will start with our the practical part. Okay, so how actually we can create a Azure storage account, that actually we are going to learn in this particular video. Okay, once you will log into the portal.azure.com, we have to search for the storage. Okay, search for the storage accounts will come, click on that. Okay, click on the create button. We are going to create a storage account. Click on the create. So in previous video we have seen how actually the subscription model work. So first we should have a subscription. Under the subscription we will create a resource group. If you haven't created a resource group, click on the create new and you can create a resource group. Under the resource group only we are going to create this storage account. So we selected the subscription, we selected the resource group. After that we have to give the storage account name. As of now I am giving the storage account name as a POC storage, like this. Okay, make sure it should be unique. Okay, after that you have to select the region. After that we have to select the performance. We have a two type, standard and the premium. Standard means it will give the HDD kind of the storage. Premium means it will give SSD kind of the storage. So premium is much more costly as compared to the standard, and it is fast also. And we have a redundancy, that is for the backup and all. That actually whenever we will learn about the theoretical part, there we will try to understand more about this redundancy. As of now I am selecting the GRS only. Click on the next. Here we are not going to do any changes as of now. Okay, click on the next, next, and you can review whatever the option you have selected. Okay, and after that we have to click on the create. Okay, now you can see the deployment is in progress. Here we have one option like the notification. If you click on the notification, you will be able to see all the notification about your account. Okay, so as of now the deployment is in progress for the storage account. That actually the notification we are getting. You can see the deployment is in progress. Once it will complete, our blob storage whatever we have created, that will be ready. Okay, so it is very simple step. The step by step I think you have observed, because whenever we will learn about more theoretical parts, so as we are doing a practical, we will be having idea like how actually we created Azure storage and how actually we will correlate with that. Okay, so let's wait it to be completed. You can see the deployment is succeed, deployment is complete. Go click on the go to resource. Okay, this is the overview. What is the hot tier, cold tier, that actually we will learn in our theoretical part. As of now what we are going to click on this container. Okay, click on this container, click on the plus container. We are going to create one container and we are going to upload a file. As of now I am creating one container, input container, and we can give a access level. You can give a privately if you want to access, you can give private, blob level access you can give, or you can give public access also. I have given the public access as of now, but make sure you give the private and all access. Just for the testing I am doing, that's why I selected that access. Okay, click on the input, click on the upload, search for the file, select any file. I have selected this file. Okay, click on the upload. This is how actually we can upload our file. Upload is now success. Now if you want to see this file, what you have to do, click on this upload, this particular file, click on the edit, click on the preview. Now you can see this is the particular file I have uploaded, and I can see this particular file also. So this is very simple. Okay, now I have given the public access, right? So if I will click here, if I will select this particular URL, and if I will open this, I will be able to download that particular file. Okay, you can see this is the particular file which got downloaded because I have given the public access. Okay, so make sure you will give in the private access. Okay, so that is how actually we can create a storage account, we can upload a file. Okay, more about the theoretical part we will learn in the next video, but as of now I think we got a overview idea like how actually we can create a storage account, how actually we can upload a file, what is the access, hot tier and all that. Actually we will try to learn more. What are the different type of the storage we have, ADLS and all that. Actually we will learn in the next video. Thank you. We are going to see how actually we can create a data factory in a Azure portal. Okay, once you will log into the Azure portal, what we have to do, we have to go to the search bar and we have to search for the data factory. Okay, search for the data factory. Okay, click on this data factory icon Okay, once you will click, this particular screen will come, window will come. You have to click on the create. We are going to create a data factory. You should have a subscription. Select your subscription, select your resource group. If you don't have any resource group, click on the create new and create a resource group. I already have a resource group, so I will select that. Okay, after that select a name. Make sure the name should be unique. As of now I am giving a name as a POC data factory something random number. Okay, region I am selecting East US. Version we are going with the version 2. Okay, click on the next. If you want to configure a git, you can uncheck this, because I don't want to configure now, so I am clicking on this check mark. Okay, click on the next. Public endpoint as of now I am giving, because I am doing a practical. Next, next review and create. Click on the create button. Okay, once you will click on the create button, your deployment will start. Okay, now if you want to monitor it deployment, you can see deployment is in progress. If you will click on this notification window, you will be able to see what are the services we have created and what are the notification you have got it. You can see deployment is succeed because previously it was in progress. So our data factory is completed. Click on the go to resource. Once you will come to this particular screen. Okay, so this is the POC data factory which we have created, and here the overview option you can see like the subscription ID and all. What we have to do, we have to click on this launch studio. So the separate window will open where that is for the data factory studio. Okay, here the data most of the activity we will perform in this particular data factory only. Okay, okay, so this is the data factory we have created. After that click on the launch studio, so the new window will open. In this particular window only we will perform most of our data pipeline kind of the activity, where we will create a data pipelines. Okay, so that actually we will see later in our video. Okay, so this is the Azure Data Factory Studio. You can see here in left side we have option home, author, monitor, manage and the learning center. Click on the home, click on the author. Once you click on the author, you will be able to see this all the screen: pipeline change, data capture, preview, data set, data flow, power query and all. So if you want to create a pipeline, you have to click here and click on the new pipelines. You will be able to create a new pipeline. Okay, if I'll click here new pipeline, now you can see there are multiple activities which we can perform. If you want to move and transfer our data, you can select move, copy and data flow activity. If you want to perform a synapse notebook, that also you can do. So it's all the things we are going to learn. Okay, like we have a different you can create a data flow, and inside the data flow you can perform a similar like union and other activities and all. We can see we have a lookup, validation, web, failure scenario, execute pipeline, delete activity, everything we are going to learn. Okay, so we can create a pipeline. Under this pipeline we can perform an activity, and the using is very simple. If you want to perform a delete activity, just drag it. Okay, now come to the this monitor. So this was a author window. Most of the activity will perform here only. Click on the monitor window. Okay, if you are running any kind of the pipeline, you will get all the details, and when actually it ran, if was it any failure, all the things you will get it here. Means you can monitor your all the pipeline. Okay, and we after that we have a manage, where actually you can create your link service, integration, runtime and all. Okay, that actually we will see later in whenever we'll do a practical. Okay, in this video we are going to start with our practical lab part for the Azure Data Factory. In last video we have already seen what is Azure Data Factory and what are the different components which is available in Azure Data Factory. In this video we will see each and everything with the help of the business requirement in a practical way. Okay, so we have one of the business requirement. Based on that we will try to create a data pipeline, and we will try to see each activity by doing a practical. Okay, so let us first try to understand what is our business requirement and what actually we are going to do in this particular video. Okay, so we have one of the business requirement. We have a data that is coming to the input container from other sources, and we want to move a data to the output container by using a Azure Data Factory pipeline. So this is the one of the business requirement. We have got it from the stakeholders, and that actually we are going to do in this particular video. Okay, so let us try to understand more about it. What are the business requirement? Okay, suppose you have web application. From this web application you are getting a continuously data into the source location. Okay, and this is your one of the container. This is your input container. Okay, so this is your Azure storage account, and in this Azure storage account you have input container, and this input container you are getting a employee data you are getting in a CSV format, and you are getting continuously. Okay, what you had to do, you had to perform a copy data activity, and you had to move a data from the source location to the your target location, that is nothing but your output container. Okay, and this is also Azure storage account. This is also Azure storage. In a Azure storage you have a two container. One is input container, there you are getting a data. You also have a output container. Okay, there actually you want to move a data from this particular source to the destination by using a Azure Data Factory pipeline. Okay, so for that we have a different component which we should create it to perform a copy activity. Let us try to understand. So we know we have a source that is available in Azure storage, right? That is we are clear. Okay, to connect to this particular source, what actually we will do, we will try to create a link service. We will try to create a link service so that we can point out to this particular source file, we can access to this Azure storage account. So we will try to create a link service. We will try to create a data set. This data set will point out what is our source file, this employee.data.csv source file, right? So for that we will try to create a data set. Okay, what we are doing, we are performing a copy activity. Okay, so we will try to do a copy activity. Similarly for the target location we will try to create a data set, and this will point out to where actually we want to store. We'll try to create a link service. With the help of link service we'll try to access this Azure storage, and this we will try to point out the output container location. Okay, so these are the things we are going to do in a practical way. So let me open, okay, let me open my Azure storage account. Okay, so this is my Azure storage account. Okay, we have already seen how to create a Azure storage account. I have a two container, input container and output container. If I'll click on the input container, I have a data that is available. Okay, so this employee1.csv, this is the particular file which I have as of now. Okay, let me try to show you the file. Go to the edit, go to the preview. So this is a particular file which is available into the input location, input container. I also have a output container there. As of now no data is available, no result. Okay, so we'll try to create a data pipeline in Azure Data Factory Studio, and we'll try to move a data from this input container to the output container. Okay, okay, so I have opened my Azure Data Factory Studio. We have already seen how to create a data factory. Okay, what you have to do, you have to go to this author, click on the pipeline. We are going to create a new pipeline. Click on the new pipeline. What we are going to do, we are going to do a copy data activity. So just click and drag it. Okay, drag it. Okay, after that in a general section we have to give the name. You can give any name. What I am giving, I am giving input to output copy. So this is the, once you will give the name, it will show here also, input to output copy. This is the particular thing we are going to do. If you want to give description, you can give it, timeout, retry also you can give it. What actually we will do, we will go to the source location. Now we will try to create a data set. Data set where actually our file is available. Our file is available in a blob storage. I will select the blob storage. Okay, our file is available in a CSV format, so I will select the delimited text. If it is Excel, you can select Excel also. Continue. Now we will try to create a link service. I will try to click on the link service, click on the new. Okay, here we have to give the link service details. So we have to give over the subscription details, we have to give our storage account. Okay, so this is the only storage I have as of now, so I selected that, but whatever the storage you will be having, you can select that. After that, click on the test connection. Once you will click on the test connection, you can see this connection successful. Click on the create. Okay, once you will click on the create, your link service will be ready. The Azure blob storage, this is now created. Okay, now we have to select the file path. Click on the file path, where actually our file is in an input location. This is the particular file, so I'll try to select that. Okay, first row contain the header, so I'll select that and click on the OK. Now our source file is now ready. If you want to preview, just click on this preview data. You will be able to see your source file. Okay, so this is our source file. Now our source is now ready. Now what we will do, we'll try to select the sink. Sink is nothing but a target. So for that also we'll try to create a data set. Click on the data set. Where actually you want to store, we want to store in Azure blob storage. I will select that storage account. I want to store in a JSON format. Let us try to select the JSON. Okay, click on the continue. Click on the link service. So we'll try to create a link service, or you can use the same because both are pointing to the blob storage account only. So I'll try to create a new Azure subscription and try to select the POC storage. Click on the create. Okay, now let me try to select the file path. I want to store into this output folder, so I'll select the output folder. Click on the OK. Click on the OK. Okay, now my source is ready, my sink is ready. Once you will do all the things, you have to click on this validate. So if any error, it will come here only. Okay, as of now, no error. After that, we have to click on the publish all. Click on the publish all. Click on the publish. If you want to check publish is completed or not, as of now it's not completed. Once it will complete, then only we'll try to see how actually we can run our pipeline that will move data from our input container to the output container, the copy data activity, right? Okay, once the publish is continued, okay, you can see publish is now completed. Click on the close. What we had to do, we had to click on this add trigger. Once you will click on the add trigger, we have two options. Either you can do manually or you can do schedule also. Okay, as of now we are going to do manually, so I'll click on the trigger now. Select the trigger now. Click on the OK. If you want to monitor your pipeline, click on the monitor here, and here if you will refresh, you will get your all the pipeline which is running. You can see this particular pipeline is now running. It is in progress state. Okay, once it will complete, we will see like your data will get copied to the output container. If it will get fail, you will get to see here the error details and all. Okay, so let us wait it to be completed. You can see now our it is succeed. Our file got copied. Okay, so what actually I will do, I'll go to the storage account. I'll try to see in output container file is available or not. You can see our file is available, that is available in a JSON format. So our pipeline is running successfully, and it is copy a data from a CSV file from an input container to the output container. Okay, so yeah, so that is how actually we can perform a copy data activity. Okay, in last video we have understand like how to perform a copy activity in Azure Data Factory. Okay, so in this particular video we are going to see how actually you can perform a delete activity. If you have to delete a data from that particular container, how actually we can do. Okay, so we have one of the business requirement that actually we are going to understand, and based on that we will try to create a data pipeline. Okay, so let me explain what actually happening. So suppose you have one of the web application, from there actually you are receiving a continuously data into this particular source location. This source location is a input container. Input container you have in a Azure storage. So this is a Azure storage account. In Azure storage account you have a input container, and in this particular input container you are receiving a data from this web application. Okay, now what actually happening, on a daily basis we are receiving a data in this particular container. So we are also running one of the pipeline which is actually copying this data on a daily basis to the other container. Okay, so let us suppose this is the output container. Here actually we are copying a data. Now whatever the data actually got copied into this output location, we want to remove from this source location, right? So we have to perform a delete activity for that. in a Azure Data Factory. So in this particular video we will see how actually you can perform a delete activity. So whatever the scenario I have explained, this can be a one of the business use case. Okay, so let us try to see how actually we can perform a delete activity. Okay, so for practical purpose I have this storage account. Let me open. This is my storage account. I will go to the container. Okay, so in this container, in this particular storage account I have created this input data container, and here I have a data available in employee1.csv on a daily basis we are receiving. Okay, I have created Azure Data Factory Studio. Let me open Azure Data Factory Studio. I will go to the author. I'll try to create a pipeline. Just click on the pipeline, click on the new pipeline. Okay, now what actually we want to do, we want to perform a delete activity. How actually we can do? So for copy activity we have to click on the move and transform. Okay, so for delete activity we have to go to this general. You can see delete, right? Just select, drag and drop. Okay, so delete activity. So in delete activity what actually we want to do, first we have to specify the name, delete source input data. Okay, that is the name I am giving. Okay, after that we have to do a setting for the source. So for the source first we have to create a data set. So this data set will indicate where actually our data is. So our data is coming into a blob storage. I'll select that, continue. After that we have to create a link service connection for that. Okay, I'll click on the link service. I'll try to select the Azure subscription. I'll try to give the storage account, and then I will try to check test connection whether I am able to establish a connection or not. Okay, so let us see whether it is success or not. You can see the testing connection. Okay, connected successfully. Click on the create button. Okay, so now our link service is now ready. Now we have to give the path location. So in file path I'll select this particular folder, and I'll select this employee1.csv file. Okay, so as of now I have selected employee1.csv, but if you want to delete all the csv, then star.csv you can give the path location. Okay, then click on the OK. Okay, now our source is ready, right? Now our source is ready. Now go to the logging account link service. Okay, where actually you want to log the data. Okay, so if you want to use the same blob storage you can select that. Let me try to select the same blob storage whatever I have. All the logging details will get saved over there only. So I'll select that. To see the connection established, folder path we have to select where actually you want to store the logging details. So that I have selected that, and let me do the validation. Let me click on the validate, no issue. After that we have to click on the publish all. Click on the publish, and after that we will try to run up our pipeline, and we will try to see our employee1.csv file in input data, it got deleted or not. Okay, so as of now we have done the publishing. Whether once it will complete, then we will try to run our pipeline. Now publish is completed, no error found. Now what we will do, we will try to run. How to trigger a pipeline? Click on that trigger, click on the trigger now. Click on the OK. Okay, now if you want to monitor, go to the monitor section, click on the refresh. So this is a particular pipeline which is now running, and it is succeeded also. Now let me go to the input location. If I will try to refresh, you will see the employee1.csv file is now deleted, and we have also selected the logging details, right? So when we have done it, okay, when we have selected this path, okay, this is the delete file in a logging setting, right? So we have specified the log details path, right? So what actually we have done, in a input data this particular path only we have again. So here we have all the logs details. Okay, so we have a log details here, but we have the original file, whatever the file was there, that got deleted. Okay, so that is how actually we can perform a delete activity. I hope you got the idea. Okay, mostly for the logging we create a separate container and we try to save all the logs details. Okay, as of now here I have given in the same folder only. Okay, so that is how actually we can perform a delete activity. I hope you got idea. we are going to understand about how actually we can do a transformation by using Azure Data Factory. So till now what actually we have seen how to perform a copy activity, like if you have a data in a one source and if you want to load into a target location, so for that actually we were performing a copy activity. So that actually we have seen till now. Now what actually we are going to see, we are going to add one more layer, that is a transformation layer. Okay, so that actually we are going to see how actually we can do in a Data Factory Studio. Okay, so let us try to understand the requirement first and then we will move further. Okay, so we have one of the requirement. Okay, so let us try to understand. So we have a source that is nothing but a SQL location. This is our SQL database. Okay, now we want to load the SQL data to our sink location, that is nothing but our storage location. Okay, so till now what actually we were using a copy data activity and directly we were doing a copy from a SQL to a sink location. But now our requirement is like we don't want to transfer all the data from a SQL to directly to storage, but we also want to perform a transformation, that is nothing but we want to apply some kind of the filtration over there. Okay, so for that what actually we will do, we will apply a filter transformation in a data flow. Okay, so if you have to perform any kind of the transformation, for that we use a data flow. Okay, that actually we will see when we will do a practical. Okay, so what actually we want to do, we want to do a filter. First we will read a data from a SQL and then we will apply a filter transformation where we will apply some kind of the filter condition, and after that we want to do a sorting. We want to do some sorting. Okay, and after that only we want to store the data into a sink location. Okay, so from this practical we will get overview idea like how actually we can use a data flow in Azure Data Factory, how actually we can apply a transformation, what are the different kind of the transformation we have available. Okay, so let us start with the practical part. Let me open. So this is my database, so let me log in once again. Okay, let me try to show you what are the tables which I have. So this is my database in Azure Database. I have, let me take a customer table. Okay, let me try to execute what are the information we have. Okay, it is executing. So we have a sales lt.customer table and these are the customer ID, name, title, first name, middle name, last name and their company name, salesperson, all the information we have. Okay, but we don't want to store all the data in a storage account, but we only want to filter. Okay, so what is the filter condition we will apply? To apply a filter condition where the title, right, if you will see we have a Mr. and Miss, we want to only save the data whose title is Mr. Okay, so that is the one filter condition we want to apply, and after that we will do a sorting based on the first name. Okay, based on their first name we will try to do a sorting. So that actually how actually we can do in a Data Factory Studio, that actually we will try to see. So what actually I will do, I will try to open my Data Factory Studio. Okay, so this is the Data Factory Studio. Previously we were creating a pipeline, right? Now what actually we have to do, we are going to see how actually we can use a data flow. So what actually I will do, I will click on the data flow, new data flow. Here we have to add a source. The rest of the procedure is same, like how to add a source. What you have to do, you have to give the source name. Okay, after that the data set we have to create. Okay, so what is the data set? So for that let us try to create a data set. I will click on the new. What is my source location? My source location is nothing but a SQL database, so I will select the SQL database here. This is the SQL database. Click on the continue. I am going to create a link service with that SQL database. For that I need a subscription, I need a server name, I need a database name also, I need a username and the password. Okay, and after that I will try to see the connection. So these are the steps we are also doing in a we were also doing in a copy activity. Okay, the same process here also we have to follow. We have to create a data set, we have to create a link service. Okay, now our link service is ready. What is our table name? Our table name is customer table. Okay, so I will select. Now my source is ready. Okay, and here if you want to debug and if you want to see a data, right, we have one flexibility. What you have to do, you have to click on the data flow debug option. Okay, once this will be ready, you can go to the data preview. Once this will be ready, right, this is rotating. Once this will be ready, you will be able to see your result. Okay, if anywhere it is failing, you will get to know from here itself. Okay, so we have opened the data flow debug option. We have click on the data preview. If you refresh, you will get to see all your data. Okay, our source is ready. We have created a data set. We have selected the customer table and we have clicked on the data preview. Now our data will be shown here in a data preview option. In a data preview, we are able to see our data. Okay, this is our source. Okay, now if you click on this plus, right, you will be able to see, right, there are so many options which we have available. Okay, these are the transformation which we can perform. You can see joining, existing, union, lookup, flatten, filter, sorting. So there are different kind of transformation we have available that we will see in a later video also. As of now, what actually we want to do, we want to use a filter transformation. So I'll select that, click on the filter. In a filter, what we have to select, incoming stream. What is incoming stream? Incoming stream is nothing but our source. Okay, what actually we want to filter, so for that we have to open expression builder. Okay, mrn dot. Okay, so if the title equal to Mr., then only that we will pick it. Let me try to refresh the data. Okay, let me click on the save and finish. You can see Mr. it is matching. It is, that's why it is giving a plus plus. If it is wrong, that it will not pick. Click on the save and finish. So this is the filter condition we have given. If you want to preview a data, if you will refresh it, you will be able to see only the data that is a Mr., where title is Mr. Okay, so from here let's see whether our condition is working fine or not. You can see title, it is coming a Mr. only, and you can see that got filter, like we are only seeing 1, 2 and then 5, 7 because whatever the ms was there, it was filter it out. Okay, now let's click on the plus. Okay, now we will see how actually we can apply a sorting. Click on the sort. Okay, now here what we have to do, you can see incoming stream is nothing but a filter. From filter the data is coming. Okay, now it is asking like the option sort only within a partition or case insensitive, so we'll select that if you want. Okay, now let's try to give a sorting condition. So what I will do, I will select the column. So we want to sort based on the name, so I will give the customer first name. Okay, and I want to sort based on the ascending order only. So this is the filter condition I am giving. Let me try to preview the data. Okay, so whatever it should start from A, B, C, like that. Okay, because we are giving a ascending order based on their first name. You can see first name, first A is coming, then B, then C, like that it will come. Okay, and finally what actually we will do, we will try to select the sink. Sink is nothing but our target location. In a sink, for that we have to create a data set here. Click on the new. We want to store in Azure Blob storage. I want to store into a delimited text. Okay, I will create a new blob storage. Select the subscription, select the storage account name and click on the create. Okay, after that we have to select our final path. I want to store here data flow output. Click on the OK. I want to save first row as header and click on the OK. Okay, so now our pipeline is ready. What we have to do, even here also if you want to preview the data, you can preview it. Okay, before running the pipeline, you can do a debug. and you can see each step what are the things which is happening during the transformation. Okay, now you will be able to see the records here. You can see you are able to see the record. It is filtered out based on the first name, and only the Mr. record is coming in a title. Now what we will do, we will try to click on the publish. Okay, now we want to run, right? If you want to run, so for that we have to create a pipeline. So go to the pipeline, click on the new pipeline. Now here you have to option to select this data flow. Just click on this data flow whatever we have created here and drag it. Okay, now this is now ready. Our data flow is already ready. We will click on the publish all, click on the publish. It is publishing, and then we will we will try to trigger it once the publish is complete. Okay, so we have to wait it to be completed. Our data, so when we will trigger, our data should store in a blob storage. Now publish is complete. Now I will click on the add trigger now, click on the OK. Now our pipeline will start running. Go to the monitor window, click on the refresh. You will get to see like our pipeline 2 is running. It is in progress state. Once it will complete, we will see the data in a storage account. So let's wait it to be completed. So that is how actually we can perform a different kind of the transformation. Okay, so let's wait it to be completed. Now if you will see, our pipeline is now succeed. Okay, it is succeed. Now what we will do, we will go to the storage account. In data flow output, we should be able to see our data. So what actually it happened, it took all in a partition. I'll try to show you the data first. Okay, if I will select any one partition, I'll go to edit, and if I will do a preview, you will be able to see our data like all the Mr. is there, and it got filter out based on the Mr. and based on the first name. Okay, but it got saved in a partition way. So how actually we can handle that? Okay, so there is one step. Okay, go to the pipeline. Okay, go to the data flow, go to the sync. In a sync we have one option. Okay, so go to the optimize. There is one option like optimize use current partition. If you will select the single partition, it will get saved in a single partition. Otherwise you can set the partition also if you want to save in a single partition or the multiple partition. So that is how we can handle that also. I hope you got idea. Thank you. Here we are going to understand the two transformation. One is the joint transformation and second is the union transformation. So we have some requirement, and based on that we will try to understand so that we will get a clear idea. Okay, so we have a two table. Suppose you have a two table, one is the employee table and one is the department table. Okay, in this employee table you have all the employee information, and in the department table you have department related information. So what you have to do, you have to join these two table. Okay, by using a joint transformation, and then finally you have to store this table into a storage account. Okay, storage account you have to store in the form of the JSON. Okay, so that is the requirement we have. So here we will see how actually we can perform a joint transformation. Okay, now there is one more scenario, that is a union transformation. So we have a two table, one is the employee table and second one is the employee Mumbai table. Employee Mumbai is nothing but here we have all the information about the Mumbai, here we have all the information about other country. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to union it both the table, by using a union transformation, and then we have to store into the Azure storage account. Then we have to store into Azure storage account. So that we are going to see in this particular video. So let me try to explain you more. Okay, so let me try to show you the table first. So I have a two table. Okay, so I have a employee table. You can see I have in the employee table I have ID, name and the salary, all the employee. Okay, and the designation I have information in the department table. Okay, so what actually we are going to do, we are going to do joining of the both the table, and we will get the final result ID, name, salary and their post. Okay, so for that we will use a joint transformation. So let me open my Data Factory Studio. I'll go to the author, I'll click on the data flow because we are doing a transformation. in previous video we have already seen like how actually we have to create the Azure SQL database, how to create a data factory and all, right? So and how to create a data flow. So I have created one data flow. I will select the first source, click on the first source. We have to create a data set, so I will click on the create data set. What is my first data source? That is Azure SQL database, so I will select that. I have to create a connection first, so I will select that. I select the subscription, I will select the server name, I will select the database. Okay, I will give the username and the password. Okay, and finally I will click on the create. Okay, these two steps are we have to follow. We have to create a data set, we have to create a link service. Now what is my table name? That we have to select it. So my table name is employee table, that is my first table. Okay, okay, now you have to add another data source, right? So for that I will click on this add source. So here also we have to create a data set, so I will click on this data set. My source is nothing but a SQL database, so I will select that. I will try to use the same link service. Okay, and I will give the different table name. Okay, so as of now I will give the department table. Okay, I'll click on the OK. Now if you want to preview a data, what we have to do, we have to click on the data flow debug and we have to data preview it. Okay, we have to click on the data flow debug option to view the data, and you have to click on the data preview. Okay, so as of now you can see data flow debug. Once it will be ready, you will be able to see the data preview. Okay, now in the source 2 we have a department information. So what actually I will do, I will give this as a department. The name also let's specify. This is a department and this is a employee source. Okay, now if you want to preview your data, you can go in the department. We have a department ID and the salary and the designation, I think. And employee, we have all the other information, ID, name and the salary. Now what we have to do, we have to apply a joining, right? So to apply a join transformation, you have to click on this plus, and after that you have to select the join. Okay, once you will select the join, these are the option we have to select. You can see the left stream, what is your first stream, that is the employee, so we have selected. What is your right stream, what is your second table, so for that we will select our second table, that is a department. Okay, now what kind of the what kind of the join we want to perform? We have a full outer join, inner join, left join, right outer or cross join. This all the join we can perform. Inner join, only the common record you will get. All in a left join, you will get all the record from the left table, only the matching record from the right table. Right table, you will get all the record from the right table, only the matching record from the left table. Okay, and full outer join. Okay, so here whatever it will match, it will show, otherwise it will show as a null. Okay, as of now we are going with the inner join, whatever it will match from both the table, that we will select it. So I will select the inner join. Okay, and based on what actually we want to join, so we want to join based on the ID from first table and department ID from the second table. Now if you will preview it, you will get whole data. Okay, you will get ID, name, salary and the department ID and the designation. You can say we are getting ID, name, salary, department ID and the post designation also, means we are getting all the data, and finally we will try to store into our sync location, that is nothing but our. For that we will create Azure storage account. I'll select the Azure blob storage, click on the OK. I want to save into a JSON format, so I will select the JSON, click on the continue. I will select the link service, I will create a new blob storage. So this all the stuff we have already done, right? All the same kind of the process we have to follow. We have to click on the create. So that is how the pipeline will get ready. Okay, now if you want to select the path where you want to save, you will select that, and okay, for that we have to specify the path here. Okay, so this is how actually we can perform our join transformation. I hope you got overall idea. If you'll go to the sync and if you can do a data preview, you will get whole idea. Okay, as of now we haven't set up our sync location. Okay, so that is why it's giving error. So let me try to do a setup first. I'll go to my storage account. I'll try to create a container, and here I want to store that output create. So this is the container I have created in a data storage account. What I will do, go to the sync, we have to create a dataset. I forgot to save that. Okay, continue. I want to store into a JSON. Azure blob storage, specify the path, output container, click on the OK, click on the OK. Now your data will get saved. If you want to preview, you can preview it, you will get the data, and means our pipeline is running fine. If you are able to see the data here, only you have to run it and you have to publish it. So that is how actually we can perform a join transformation. Now what we will see how actually we can do a union transformation. So for that we will create a new pipeline. So what I will do, I'll go to the data flow, click on the new data flow, we will select a source. I'll select my first source, I'll select my second source, that is our department. Okay, I think I have another table. Okay, so I'll create a new data set, Azure Sql Database. I will select the same link service. I'll select the different table. So I have employee Mumbai table and click on the OK. Now this table indicate the employee Mumbai table, and this table indicate the all the employee. Okay, now we have to do a union, means it will be the combination of all. So for that we will use a union transformation. Here we have to union it. So what you have to select, what is your incoming is employee, you want to union with employee Mumbai, the second source, right? So that is the condition we have to give. Now if you will go, okay, now go to the optimize, inspect, ID name salary. Okay, let's see what is the error. Let us see what is the error. Okay, so the name I have given, that is wrong, so we will give this name. I'll go to the union, I'll go to the data preview, I'll click on the refresh. Now you can see it will be the combination of all the record. From first table we are getting a how many records? We are getting a 6 record. You can see we have 5 record in first table, and in second table we have a 2 record, 6 and 7. So when we do a union, so we are getting the whole record 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 record. Okay, so that is how we can perform a union. And if you want to save into a sync, so that you can select it, what is where actually we want to store. So for that we have to select our data set. I think we already have JSON, so this one only will select. So this is how actually we can create a data flow, and we can use a union and the join transformation. I hope you got idea. Hello everyone, so in this particular video we are going to see how actually we can use store procedure in our Azure Data Factory pipeline. Okay, So till now we have seen so many transformation by using Azure Data Factory, and in this video we are going to see how actually we can use a store procedure in our Azure Data Factory pipeline. And this is one of the important video, because most of the time in industry whenever you work you will get to see store procedure in your SQL server, and based on that you have to create a pipeline. So let us try to understand first what is store procedure, and then we will go further with that. Okay, so suppose you have to write the same kind of the query again and again. Suppose this is the query and this is like 100 line of the query, and this you have to execute again and again. So instead of writing this 100 lines of the query again and again, what actually we do, we actually try to wrap it under the store procedure. Okay, and instead of calling the whole SQL query, instead of executing the whole SQL query, what actually we do, we actually try to call the execute command and the store procedure name. If we will do this, the whole query will execute, and multiple times we can call it. So that is the importance of the store procedure, and this is one of the most important thing. And even if you want to pass any kind of the parameter in store procedure, you can pass it. Okay, when we'll do a practical, we'll try to understand more about it. Okay, so in this video what actually we want to do, we have one of the SQL server. Okay, so this is our SQL server. Here we have one of the employee table, and we have one of the store procedure also we have. Okay, what this store procedure is doing is like, whenever we will pass any kind of the ID, so that will delete a ID from this particular table. We have created one store procedure, so whenever we will pass any ID, that particular ID will get deleted from this employee table. Okay, and this is the store procedure which we are going to use in our data factory pipeline. Okay, now let us try to understand by doing a practical. Let me try to explain you how actually I am doing. Okay, if you will see here, okay, we have this particular table. If I will execute the employee table, I have 4 record, ID 2, 4, 5 and 6. 2, 4, 5 and 6 I have. Okay, what I am going to create, I am going to create one store procedure. So what is the structure? Create procedure and the procedure name. What is the procedure name I am giving? This is the particular procedure name I am giving, delete customer, and I am passing parameter @ID. Okay, and what is the query I am writing? I am writing a query, delete from employee table where ID equal to the @ID. So this is the store procedure. Let me create. Okay, if I will create, this particular store procedure will get created. And how actually we can execute this? If we will execute the store procedure name, and @ID we will pass it. If I will pass it 1, if the 1 is present in the particular table, that will get deleted. 1 is already not present. If I will pass 2, then the 2 will get deleted. Okay, but this is how actually we actually execute in a SQL. But how actually we can do this in our data pipeline, that we are going to see. Okay, so we have a store procedure, delete customer, and let's open the Data Factory Studio. So this is the Data Factory Studio. What we have to do, go to the author. Okay, click on the pipeline, new pipeline. Okay, now if you go to the general, you will get to see the store procedure. Just click and drag it here. Okay, once you will drag it, you will see first you have to give the name, store procedure, employee, any name we can give. Okay, so this is the name I am giving, store procedure. Now we have to go to the setting. So first we have to create a link service. Okay, so what is our link service? So we will create a connection with our SQL table first. So for that we have to select the server name. Okay, Azure Sql Database, Azure subscription we have to select. What is our server name? What is our database name? That also we have to select. And what is our username? Let me pass my username and the password, and we'll try to see a connection. So how to create a link service, that we already have seen previously also, right? The same kind of thing I am doing, and I will check the connection. Let's see whether the connection is established successful or not. It is still rotating. It is successful. Click on the create. Our link service will get ready. Okay, now after that we have to select the store procedure name. What is our store procedure name? So delete customer, this is the store procedure we have created. Now if you click on the store procedure parameter, click on the import, you can see ID, it automatically come. Okay, now here if you will give any value, that value it will take it. Okay, so but what actually we want to do, we want to pass it during the runtime. So what actually I will do, I will click here outside. If you can click on the parameter, just give ID. Okay, and this is the parameter we have. Now click on the store procedure value, click on the add dynamic value, and we will just select the this ID. Click on the OK. Now during the runtime only we will pass it. Okay, so this much step we have to follow. We have to go to the general, we have to give the name. In setting we have to create first link service, then we have to give the store procedure name, and if you click on the import the parameter, whatever the parameter, that we will pass it. Okay, now click on the publish all, no issue. Right, we only have to pass whatever the ID we want to delete during the runtime, and that ID will get deleted, right? So that is the use case we are doing as of now by using the store procedure. Okay, let's wait it to be completed. It's published completed. Now let's try to trigger it. Click on the trigger now. Now it is asking ID, so we have ID 2, right? So let me pass the ID 2. Click on the OK. Now let's go to the monitor. Let's see our pipeline got completed successfully or not. It's running, so let's wait it to be completed. Our pipeline is in progress state. Let's wait it to be completed. Okay, once it will complete, you will get to see like your ID is getting deleted. You can see it is succeed now. Now I will go to the database. Now if I will execute the employee table, the 2 should not be there. Okay, you can see ID 2 got deleted. Now we only have 4, 5 and 6. Let me execute one more time to show you. If I will execute this one more time, add trigger now, and if I will pass this ID 4, click on the OK, the ID 4 will get deleted. Our pipeline is now running. Our pipeline is running. It is succeed now. If I will go to the SQL database, if I will execute now employee table, you can see ID 4 got deleted. So that is how actually we can use it. I hope you got. Hello everyone. So in this particular video we are going to understand about the for each activity, and this is one of the most important topic which we should know. Okay, so let us try to understand what is this for each activity. So for each activity is similar to the for loop which we use in a programming language. So if we want to iterate, okay, so in that kind of the purpose we generally use a for each activity. I have one of the example. Based on the example we'll try to create a pipeline and we'll try to understand the for each activity. So let us try to understand. Okay, so suppose you have one of the container in a storage account. So suppose this is your storage account. In this storage account, this is your container, and the container name is input container. This is your input container. Under this container you have a multiple file, 1 2 3 4 and multiple file you have. Okay, what is your task is your task is to move this particular file from this particular container to the output container. Okay, so what is our first task? Our first task is like we should know what are the file and how many files which is available into this input container. So for that we should know the metadata information. So how actually we can get the metadata information? We have one more activity, that is a get metadata activity. Get metadata activity. This activity will tell you what are the file which is available into this particular container. So we will be having all the information like how many files are there and what are the file which is available. Once we get all the information about the file, what actually we will do, we will try to pick one by one each file, and with the help of the for each activity we will try to iterate it. and we will try to copy into this particular container. So that is our task. For each we will use to iterate all the files which is available into the input container, and we will use a copy activity here, and we will try to move into the output container. I hope you got idea. For iterating purpose we generally use a for each activity. Okay, now let us try to do a practical so that we will get more idea. Let me open. So I will show you. Okay, so this is my storage account. In output container, if I will show you, I don't have any file. Okay, this output container is empty. This is our target location. Now if I will go to the input container, in input container I have a multiple file, one employee 1, employee 1, employee 2, employee 1, like this. I have a multiple file 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so our pipeline should know like what are the file which is there. Okay, so for that we are going to create a pipeline, and we have to copy that data into output container also. Okay, so let me open my Data Factory Studio. Let me try to create a new pipeline here. We'll try to create a new pipeline. What is our first task? Our first task is to know what are the file which is available into that particular container, right? So how actually we can know? We can know with the help of this get metadata activity. So I'll try to pick the get metadata. Okay, now we have get metadata. Okay, I'll go to the setting. Okay, first we should create a data set. Our file is available in a blob storage. I'll select the blob storage. Continue. File is available in a CSV format, so I'll select that. Link service will try to create. New link service. Try to select the storage account. I'll try to click on the create. Okay, and here we will only select the input folder. We are not going to select any file, we are going to select only the input container. Okay, I'll click on the OK, and I'll select the first REST header and click on the OK. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, now after that what we have to do, we have to click on this field list. Okay, in this field list if you click, you will get all this item. What is our task is? Our task is to know what are the file which is there into the particular container, right? So for that we want to know the child item, so I'll select the child item. Okay, so this is what we have to do in a get metadata, right? What we have done, we have created a data set and we have selected the child item from the field list. Okay, once I will run, I will get the info about what are the files which is there. Okay, I'll click on the validate. There is no issue. Click on the debug. Okay, let us try to see what is the output. You can see it is succeed. Now if I want to see the output, you can see in the child item we are getting in a JSON format name of the every file, employee 1, employee 1, employee 2, employee 1, employee 1, like this. All the file we are getting under the child item in the form of the JSON. Okay, so we are getting the all the information about our file. Now our second task is to use the for each. Okay, now our second task is to use the for each. So what actually we will do, we will try to use a for each activity. Okay, so I will try to search a for each in a search activity. For each, you can see iteration and conditional we have for each, so I will try to click and drag it here. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to click here from the get metadata only we want to take the file, right? So I have just connected this get metadata to the for each. Now I'll click on the for each. Okay, and the name if you want you can give. Go to the setting. Okay, sequentially we want to do, right? Now after that we have to select the item. Okay, so what is the item? Item is nothing but we want to take a file from here, right? So that actually we want to select it from the add dynamic content. So click on the add dynamic content. Okay, now here if you will see, you are getting the output get metadata activity output. Okay, and these are the you can see we have a get metadata child item. Okay, so I'll select this get metadata child item. This is what we actually want, right? So click on the OK. Okay, so this is our for each is ready. Now what we have to do, we have to apply a activity here. Go to the activity, or you can click here plus also. What is the activity we want to perform? We want to perform a copy activity. So I'll select the copy activity, click the copy activity. Once you'll click on the copy activity, we have to select our source. So what is our source? So for that we have to create a our source location. Our source is the blob storage. I will select that, continue. In a CSV format it is there, I'll select that. Link service, I will use the same link service, and first row as header. Okay, so this is what I have selected. Our file is available in input container. Okay, so this is what we have selected, and I will try to click on the OK. I haven't selected any file path as of now. Okay, so I will give that okay, the link service we have selected file path, and the first row as header I will just remove it. Click on the OK. Okay, we have to select the schema as a none. Okay, click on the OK. Okay, so now in this particular source, right, so previously we were giving, we were selecting the file path in a data set, right? Now we have to select the wildcard file path. Okay, what is our folder path? Our folder path is input container, right? And in star we are actually trying to get all the file from the for each activity. So I'll select the for each. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to select the wildcard part, we have to give our container, and we are actually using the for each activity. So I have selected the for each. Okay, now our source is now ready. Now go to the sink where actually we want to store. So we'll select the blob storage. We want to store into a output container. So I'll select the link service, the same kind of the link service I want to store into the output container. So I'll give output container. Okay, first row as header, click on the OK. Okay, once this all are ready, click on the validate. Container is required, copy data 1 container is required. So I'll go to the copy data. You can see in a source we have given this path. So let me delete this first. Okay, and this output also we need to delete. Okay, so what is the data set? We have a delimited text 2. This is the data set, right? I will click OK, and here I will pass what is my input container. Okay, so what is my source location? Input. So I will click here, and if I will try to preview it, I will be able to see our data. So you can see all the data, you can see, right? Now what we have to do, we have to go to the pipeline. Okay, we have to select the wildcard part. You can see input is already coming. Now here we have to select wildcard file name. Okay, the file name will come from a for each activity dot item dot name. This is what the name actually we will try to give. Click on the OK. Okay, if we will preview it, the value it will get passed automatically. Okay, dot name only we have to give. Now we will try to publish it, and we will try to run it one by one, and we will try to run. Okay, when we will run, it should be able to transfer all the data. Okay, let's wait it to be completed. If any error, we will try to debug it. Okay, what we have done, in a source we have selected the wildcard path. We have given input container at the item dot name. This is coming from the for each activity. Okay, now let us try to run. Add trigger now. Click on the OK. Go to the monitor, and here we will try to monitor. You can see it is in progress, so we will wait it to be completed. Okay, or if any error, so it will throw error like a failed, so we will wait for that. Now if you will see, our pipeline is succeed. Now I will go to the output container. I will refresh. The data should be available here, all the file. You can see we have 1 2 3 4 5 6, all the file got copied here. So that is how actually we can use a for each activity. Hello everyone. So in last video we have seen like the for each activity how actually we can use in Azure Data Factory. In this video we are going to see about the lookup activity, and this is one of the most important topic because whenever you will solve any kind of the business problem you will get to see this kind of the lookup activity use case and the importance. Okay, so let us try to understand. Lookup activity reads and return the content of the configuration file or table. It also return the result of the executing query or a table. For taking example, suppose you have one of the table, store procedure or file. For taking example, suppose I have one of the file table. Okay, now my requirement is like I want to get the output of this particular file. Based on this output, what actually I will do, I will pass in my pipeline and I will perform some kind of the transformation. So first I should get the output of this particular table, then only based on this output I will try to pass in my pipeline. Okay, so how actually I can get the output? So in that kind of the scenario we generally use a lookup activity. I have one of the great example of based on we have one of the example. When we will do a practical you will get more understanding about this lookup activity and all. Okay, let me try to explain you what actually we are going to do. Okay, so I have one of the employee table. Okay, I have one employee table, I have ID, I have name, means all the employee information I have in this particular table and their name. Okay, now I have one more table, employee resignation table. So here I have ID. So here what I am getting, here I am getting all the value who all employee are getting resigned. You can see I am getting the employee ID who are getting resigned in this particular month. Okay, now my requirement is like I need to check this particular table. Okay, I need to get the output. Okay, and based on this output I need to delete the data from the employee table. I need to delete the data from a employee table from this particular table. You can see we have id 1, so it will delete the value from the employee table id1 if id1 is present. If then it will check id2, it will go and it will delete the value id2 from the employee table. It will check id3, it will go and it will delete the id3 from the employee table. Okay, so for the output what we will use a lookup activity. Okay, and because we have to iterate each id, right, so in that kind of case we will use a for each activity. Under this for each activity we will pass another lookup. Okay, let's do practical so that we'll get more idea. Let me open. Okay, so let me show you my table. Okay, I have employee table. So this is my table where I have all the employee information. Okay, like I have id, name and the country. I have 5 id, 1 2 3 4 5. I have one more table that is a resign employee. These are the employee who are getting resigned, like 3 4 5. And I have created one store procedure, resignation employee procedure. Here I am passing parameter id. Okay, so whatever the output of this particular resign employee table, right, that I will pass in this particular store procedure, and that will delete the id from the employee table. Okay, output of this particular table I will pass in this store procedure, and that will delete the data from my employee table. So that is what we are going to do. Okay, I hope you got it. Okay, now let me go to my data factory. Okay, here I am going to create a new pipeline. Click on the new pipeline. We are going to select for the lookup, so I'll search the lookup here. Okay, in a lookup activity I'll go to the setting. Okay, we have to select the data set, so I'll click on the create. My data set is available. I will create Azure Sql Database because the SQL query I need to select. I already have link service, so I'll directly select that. Okay, and what is my table name? So I will select the table name is like employee table, not the employee table. We want to look into the resign employee, right? So I will select that. Okay, so on this resign employee table I need to get the output what are the ID is present. That ID we will select and we will delete it from the store procedure, right? So this is now ready. If I will preview data, you will get to see the ID. You can see we are getting only one ID because we have selected the first row only. Uncheck this. Now you will be able to see the all the IDs, right? 3 4 5. Now what we have to do, we will use a for each activity because we have to iterate each activity, right? Each ID. I'll select the for each. I'll try to connect this. Now you have to click on this for each, go to the setting, click on the sequential in item, right? Select the add dynamic content and we will take a output from this lookup one. So I will select the lookup one value array, lookup one dot output dot value. That actually value we will select from the dynamic content. Click on the OK. Now under this for each we have to select the activity. So we are using the store procedure to delete the data from employee table. So I will select the store procedure. Let me click on the store procedure, go to the setting, select the link service. So I'll select the same link service which I have. Now store procedure, so this is the store procedure. I will select the resign employee procedure. Now click on the import, the parameter we will pass it. Click on the value will come from the for each activity, right? And the ID only I want to delete, dot ID, and I will repeat this on all under the string. Okay, so this is how actually I will pass the ID. Whenever I will pass the ID, that ID will get deleted. Now our pipeline is ready. What I will do, I will click on that trigger. I'll try to debug it first. Okay, I'll click on the debug. Okay, it is in process. It should be able to delete the data from that employee table, whatever the ID which is present in a lookup table, like 3 4 5, that should be deleted because that is the use of the store procedure. Now you can see our lookup one is succeed, for each activity is running, one store procedure is able to succeed, the other one is also running. Okay, you can see the lookup one, what is the output we are getting. Let's see, we are getting the count and the value. These are the value we are getting. So we are selecting the ID 3 and we are looping. Okay, now you can see this all are succeed. Now I will go to the my database and I will see whether the value got deleted or not. So I'll select the select star from employee. Previously 5 records were there, now only the 2 records were there because 3 value we deleted from, we have selected this all the ID from this table and we have deleted 3 4 5, right? That is how actually we can use it. I hope you got idea. Hello everyone, so in this particular video we are going to see about the get metadata activity in Azure Data Factory. Okay, so what is the importance of this? Okay, so to know the metadata information, suppose you have a folder. Okay, in this is your input folder in your Azure storage account. Okay, suppose you have a multiple files. Okay, now if you want to get the metadata information, like what are the files which is available into this particular folder, right? And based on that you want to apply some kind of the condition. So in that kind of the scenario we generally use the get metadata activity to know the metadata information. Okay, so we have a multiple things. So we have a child item, last modify, created, size, item type, item name. These are the option which is available. When we'll do a practical we'll get to know more about it. Okay, so suppose this is this particular folder we have. Okay, now if I want to know what are the file which is available here, so I can use a child item. It will list all the subfolders and the file in the given folder. Okay, similarly if you want to know about the name of the file or the folder, you can use an item name. Item type, if you want to know, you can use that. When was actually it was last modified, that all the kind of the information you can get it from the get metadata activity. Okay, let me open my Azure Data Factory and let me try to explain you more. Okay, so let me create a new pipeline. I will search for the get metadata here. I'll just drag it. Okay, I'll go to the setting. In setting we have to create a data set, my folder. Okay, I'll create Azure blob storage. I will select the CSV file. Okay, I'll create a link service. Okay, I'll select the subscription storage account. This already we have seen. Click on the create. Okay, let me show you my storage account. So this is my input storage, this is my storage account. I have an input container and I have a multiple file which is available in this particular folder. Okay, now how actually with the help of the pipeline we will get to know what are the file which is available there. Okay, so what actually I will do, I will try to select the file path, this input folder only. I'm not going to select any file. Okay, as of now I am just selecting the container folder, input folder, no file name and all. Okay, I'll just click on the OK. Okay, so now in get metadata activity we have option like the field list. Okay, so suppose if I will select the child items. Okay, I have selected the child items. Now if I will try to debug, so we'll get output. Okay, we'll get output what are the files which is there, it will list all the files. Okay, now the status is in queue. Once it will get output, we'll get more info about it. Okay, now it is succeed. Now if I'll click on the output, you can see we have a child items. Under this child item we have employee1.csv, employee11.csv. These all the files which is available into this input location, it listed out. Okay, like you can see employee3, employee2, employee1, this all the file actually it listed under the name. So we are getting a JSON file, and based on that actually we can put some condition and we can run the later pipeline. Okay, so it is listing all the files. Okay, under this. Okay, now if I'll click here, now let's see if I will select the item name. Okay, and now if I will try to debug it. Okay, let's see what is the output we are getting. Okay, the child item is for the, it will list all the subfolders into the particular folders. Okay, as of now under this folder I have all the files, that's why it listed all the files, but if you have folder, that also you can list it. Let's see what will be the output we will get. We have selected the item name. You can say, see item name, it listed the what is your input folder name, that is a input, right? And that is our input folder name. Similarly we have a multiple option. If you want to see when actually it was the last modify and all, that also you can use under this argument, like item type, whether the file is exist, whether the input file whether it exists or not. This all the option we can use with the help of the get metadata. Okay, I hope you got it. Thank you. Hello everyone, so in this particular video we are going to learn about the if condition activity in Azure Data Factory. So if condition is the similar to the your programming language, where we check certain condition and based on that we try to do certain steps, right? So suppose, let me tell you one example what actually we are going to do and how actually we are going to understand. Suppose this is my particular storage account, and in this particular storage account I have employee.csv file and also I have an empty file. Okay, so before performing any kind of the action, first I had to check like whether that file contains any data or not. If this file contains any data and our condition gets satisfied, then I will perform other activity. If that file if the file doesn't have any data, then my condition will get false and I will perform some other activity. So these are the thing if you have to do. So in that kind of the case we use a if condition activity. Let me tell you one of the example. Okay, let me open. So I have my input folder. Now if you will see, I have two files, employee1.csv file which is having some data, and in empty.csv which doesn't have any data. Let me try to show you. Okay, so this is an empty.csv file. If I will show you, if I will preview you, there is no data here. Okay, so what actually I will do, I will go to my data factory. I have created one pipeline. Now what actually I will do, first I will search the get metadata. Okay, with the help of the get metadata we will get to know the metadata information about that particular file. So I have one of the data set which is pointing to the Azure blob storage. Okay, now here we have to pass the file name. Suppose that we will pass during the runtime only. Okay, now what actually I will do, I will use a if condition activity. So I will use the if condition activity. I will try to join this. Now in this activity we have to give some kind of the expression. Okay, if the expression is getting satisfied, we will get the two value, whether it is true or it is false. In this true you can add some activity. Okay, if the condition is satisfied, then I will perform this activity. If the condition is not satisfied and it is false, then I will perform other activity. So for true, what actually we will do, we will add a set variable. Okay, as of now just value only we will add. For false also I will add the set variable. Okay, now first I will click on this if condition. So what is the expression we are going to pass? So I will pass the output of the, not the output, I will pass the, I will check the column count. Okay, so if the file has any data, that means that will contain any column count, right? So I will just count the column and I will pass the condition if the column is greater than 0. Okay, means the file contains any data. Okay, so this is the condition I am passing. I am passing from get metadata whatever the output is I am getting. I will try to check the column count. If it is greater than 0, means our expression will be true, otherwise it will be false. Okay, so I have two file. One file contains column, so for that it will be true. For empty file it will false. Okay, now for in true condition I will click on the set variable. So in set variable what we can do, we can create any variable. Okay, so suppose I want to I am creating a variable x. This is string type, and the value we will try to add the column count. This is the value I am going to attach, and let me try to convert into a string, otherwise it will give error. Okay, so if my condition is satisfied and it is correct, if condition is true, so I am creating one variable x, and that value will contain the output of this column count. Okay, so this is what I am doing here. Now my condition is false. Okay, then what I will do, I will create one more variable. I will give name as a y, and what is the value I will set? I will set the value as a empty file. Okay, so this is what I am doing. First what I am doing, I am checking the get metadata activity. Here I will pass the file name. Okay, and I will get I will set the field list. So field list I will select as a, with the help of the field list, in the field list I will check the column count. Okay, so in get metadata activity I selected my dataset in, and I will pass the file name dynamically, and I am giving the field list as a column count, so it will give the output of a column count. Okay, I have given the if condition activity. I am giving the condition if the column count is greater than 0, then the condition will be true and the value will be set in the x. Okay, if the condition is false, then the value will be the empty. So this is the what I am doing here. Now if I will try to run here, if I will try to debug. Okay, so let me try to pass value. Okay, let me give the value file name as a employee1.csv. Okay, first I will check the employee1.csv file. Let me try to debug it. Employee1.csv file contains the data. Okay, so my values will be set into this set variable. My condition will be satisfied and I will get the column count value. Okay, so let's wait it to be completed. Now you can see it is succeed. Now if I will show you the get metadata output, column count I am getting 4. Now what is the value in set variable I am getting? I am getting the variable output value as a 4, means our condition is satisfied. Now what I will do, I will change the file name as a empty.csv. Okay, now I will try to debug it. Now in this case the value should come as a empty, because in empty file we don't have any column. Let's wait it to be completed. Now if I will show you get metadata, the column count is 0, it is not greater than 0, then our set variable 2, it is coming as a value as a empty. Okay, so that is how actually we can do a check of the if condition. I hope